Audio storytelling comes in all shapes, formats, and sizes. You might like to listen to traditional radio, and if you listen to a newscast, you might notice that there are several different audio elements, simple clips, and radio packages, voicers, which normally last about a minute and a half. And a radio voicer is a traditional news item in which the reporter will introduce a topic with a voiceover narration. The reporter will introduce short clips, and there might be up sounds and sometimes music. You can think about podcasting, which is very popular these days, and that is another format when it comes to audio storytelling. Audio is also a major component in video production. We will talk about video production in the next module, and a rookie mistake is to focus too much on the moving pictures component and to forget about the importance of good audio. So pay close attention to this module because the lessons that you will learn will also be very useful when it comes to video production. To get good sound, you need a microphone and a recording device. That's the bare minimum. Some devices do both. My cell phone is both a recording device and a microphone. And you can get pretty good audio. So my trick is to hold it upside down. That's the USB connector here, and it also has a microphone. So I will hold it this way, start recording, and I normally put it about 4 to 6 inches from my mouth or the mouth of the person I am interviewing. Now with COVID, stay away. They can either use their own cell phone and send you the file, or you can do a Zoom interview. Just be careful. But generally speaking, I will put the microphone and the cell phone at about 4 to 6 inches and off center. Why? Well, if you speak directly into the microphone, there is no windsock, so it will pick up popping, so P patterns, and it will pick up mouth noises. Whereas if you put it off center by a few inches and then 4 to 6 inches from your mouth, you will get pretty clear audio. Another trick, if you're doing a voiceover narration with your cell phone, is to record while sitting on your bed under a thick blanket or to go into the closet so that it's not as roomy. So the cell phone is both a recording device and a microphone, albeit it's a pretty cheap omnidirectional microphone, so you don't have much control in terms of focusing on a specific sound or noise. There are other microphones out there, such as the one that I am wearing. You might not see it really, it's here. That's a lapel microphone used in TV production. And you have to be careful because you might notice if I touch my clothing around it, you will hear that. Lapel microphones are nonetheless very useful for TV, but they tend to be very roomy. Mine is omnidirectional, which means that it has a pickup pattern that is about 360 degrees. So whether I speak looking into the camera or whether I speak directly into it, if I speak off center, it will still pick up my voice. It also means that right now it's picking up my computer fan. So if you listen very carefully, you might hear a little hum in the background. That's my computer doing its thing. Nonetheless, a good microphone. If you want to focus on a specific sound, you can use a shotgun microphone. That's a tiny one that goes on my DSLR. I could plug it into my recording device as well. Not my cell phone though, and just check online. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but there are different connectors for microphones. Generally, they will be TRRS, tip, ring, sleeve, whereas for most other recording devices, it's TRS if you have a tiny connector, which stands for tip, ring, sleeve. Two different types of connectors. They look the same, but they're not cross-compatible, generally speaking. Anyway, speaking of connectors though, you can buy a connector so that you can plug a microphone into your phone. Look it up online, it's pretty affordable. So my shotgun microphone will allow me to pick up sounds and noises that are in front of it. And I could hold it this way and speak. You would hear me a little bit, but the microphone would be focusing mostly on what's in front of it. Thus the shotgun name. So that's a shotgun microphone. The lapel I'm wearing is omnidirectional. Most TV microphones and radio microphones, which look like an ice cream cone, so like the big ball with the handle, are omnidirectional microphones, or cardioid microphones, very similar. They tend to pick most sounds around them. There is also another kind of microphone, which is my studio microphone. And I will let you hear the difference. So now I'm speaking into my studio microphone, and it is not perfect because my home office is still under construction. I have yet to put up insulation on the walls. You can actually buy panels that will cut off outside noise and will also cut off the echo. So it's not quite perfect, but you can hear that my voice is much warmer, and if I get very close to it, there is even the proximity effect. So my studio microphone is pretty useful when recording voiceover narrations or whenever I am producing a video in which I am speaking over a PowerPoint presentation. And now I am back on my lapel mic. I mentioned it before, in addition to the microphone, you need a recording device. You can use a cell phone. Right now I am using my computer. I shoot my weekly videos using a webcam. Not the best quality, but it is a pretty efficient workflow. For the audio though, I am using professional microphones plugged into a USB control board, plugged into my computer, and my computer is my recording device. If you do not have a cell phone, or if you want a slightly better quality, you can use dedicated devices. I've got a tiny audio recorder here, bought it over 12 years ago. It's by Olympus. I can plug in a microphone using a 3.5 millimeter connector, and there is a USB jack, so I can actually plug it into my computer and it's done. Works on AAA battery. I also have a much bigger device, my Tascam DR100, pretty pricey. This one is both a recording device and it includes some microphones. I have unidirectional microphones on top, omnidirectional microphones, XLR connectors at the bottom to plug in professional microphones, and I can even use a line-in input. So recording devices and microphones are the key elements when it comes to the key tools when it comes to audio production. One last thing regarding technical requirements, without getting lost in all of that, know that there are two big families of microphones used in journalism. Dynamic microphones, so my lapel is a dynamic microphone, the ice cream cone style microphones are generally dynamic as well. In a nutshell, it means that they use a magnet and do not require external power. Whereas condenser microphones, like my shotgun here, will require a source of energy because they use a different technology. This one works on a AAA battery, and you can also power some condenser microphones out in the field using phantom power, 48 volts, and that's why there is this little tab here which says plus 48V. Don't know if you can see it. That's the 48 volt output, and it will add power to my XLR connectors to power a shotgun microphone, say. So keep that in mind. Again, you don't need to remember all of that. Just know that there are different microphones, different recording devices, and they all serve a purpose. Now let's talk a little bit about the main components that you can record in order to create an audio story. Of course, and I mentioned it, demonstrated it with my studio microphone, you can have a voiceover narration. That's pretty typical on radio and in podcasting. You can include interview excerpts if your story isn't an interview itself, so interview excerpts or clips. You can have natural sounds, and natural sounds can be sounds that you record, say, in a cafe. You know, you are doing a story in a cafe, you might record someone drinking coffee, a barista preparing coffee. You can have dialogues. Ambient sounds are very similar, and I would argue that the main difference between a natural sound and an ambient one is merely the level at which you play it in your final piece. A natural sound or an up sound will play at full level. So say I'm in a cafe, I record the barista talking to a client, and I play about 5 seconds of that dialogue at full volume. Well, that's a natural sound. If I fade it under and mix it with other sounds, that becomes background sound, ambient sound. There is also a fifth element that you can include, which is music. Be careful though, there are copyright issues, so you shouldn't just go and download a song you like. You need to make sure that you have the rights to that song. That's why I tend to use personally the YouTube Studio sound library, or in Compotech, make sure that you use royalty-free music and that you or that you have the rights to use whichever song it is that you want to use. So be very careful if you are in a venue doing an interview and there is music in the background. It might be better to go to another room or outside to record the interview. The added benefit is that if you need to edit two portions of a clip together, it will be much easier if you don't have a recognizable song in the background. So be careful with music. It's better to add it in post-production if need be. And remember that these audio components, these elements, are also used to build the audio tracks in a video. So keep that in mind for the next module. So that's pretty much it for this very short overview of audio production tools. In the next video, I will teach you how to put together an audio story using Audacity.